All right, guys, this is something I don't think I've ever done in a video. Watching a movie and then just being so appalled at how bad it is in the first 10 minutes, then jumping on to record a play-by-play of this movie. I've never done that before. I've done blind watches, but that was planned out, and it starts at the beginning of the movie. Fulci has never done me wrong, really. There's a few movies of his that hasn't clicked with me, but we'll talk about that in Lizard in a Woman's Skin, which is what led us here. I went on Tubi, said, all right, they have a lot of Fulci, so let me see, and I don't remember seeing it, so I was pretty sure that it wasn't on there. But I type in Lizard in a Woman's Skin, and they don't have it. Because I'd rather watch a movie on my TV than on the laptop, but I'll still have the video probably out late night tonight, if not tomorrow, because I'll definitely be watching it tonight. So instead of that movie popping up, other random ones did. The first and second one was 2023's Legend of the Lizard Man. And you guys, some of you know how I love cryptids and stuff like that. So I said, you know what? Screw it. Let's just throw this movie on. And knowing nothing about it, all I know is there's a Legend of a Lizard Man, and I'm sure there's a bunch of people that are going to get killed by it. We're at about the 10-minute mark, and already I know this is terrible in every way. But I don't want to speak too early, but I figured if I don't get my initial reactions, we could be missing some comedic gold here. But it opens up somewhere in the South with black family. They speak like they're from the South. I'm going to assume that they're in the South. The acting already is bad, like real bad. And then it's a mother, father, and their son in the back seat. They're driving, and they hit something, and then they stop the car. Father gets out, and he sees just these claw marks on the tire. Then we see from the perspective a bit of this lizard man, and it has different vision, it's like different color and stuff. Looks cool. But then we see shots that look so bad, it's laughable. I started laughing my ass off, and that's what made me get on here to start this video. There's a few shots of this where they have a cheap ass, whatever, shape of his teeth overlaid on the camera. And immediately I thought, wait, we just saw his perspective. Why that camera shot? Are we looking out from his tonsils, and that's why we're seeing his teeth? And it looks comically bad. And so here we are. Then the mom, she gets grabbed by the lizard person. You still haven't seen him fully. But she gets grabbed and says to her son, who's, I don't know, he's an adult. She says, Darnell, run. And instead of helping his mother, this guy runs into the woods and hides behind a tree. This is going to be fun.
It wasn't.
That's where I'm up to. And not even 10 minutes, 8 minutes, something like that. Let's talk and watch The Lizard Man. The Legend of the Lizard Man from last year. This I don't even think I had to say, but this is a very low budget film. So there's a lot of things I'm sure I'll be able to forgive as time goes on, but not really. From the opening scene here, it seems like it's going to be like this the entire movie. So Darnell's hiding in the tree, and we see the legs of the lizard man. It's alright. It looks like, alright, this is the best way I could describe it. It's like a flamingo, but without the backwards, legs, the way that they walk backwards, like the way that their legs are structured. That's what it's like. It's like a flamingo with normal legs, is the point I'm trying to make. Doesn't look bad. I'm hoping, and I always do for movies like this, I'm hoping by the end of this hour and 52 minutes, I just looked at the time. That seems way too long already. But I'm hoping to come away, kind of enjoying this. That's what I always hope for. I never want to hate a movie, but I know movies at this point in my life. I could tell just from the opening scene of this movie, unless it just they brought in a whole new crew after this opening scene and shot the rest of the hour and 50 minutes minus 10 of this film. I have the feeling, and I'm hoping that I'm proven wrong here and that I look like a dumbass. I really do. But that's not going to happen. All right, first positive, the music's not bad. The score to this in the beginning, it sounds very tinny and cheaply recorded, but it's good. I feel like I'm in like the interlude of like a nu metal band from the 2000s. That's how it sounds. But it's not bad. It's a little jarring with like the cinematography. It's all dark out. It's nighttime. This guy's trying to escape the lizard man by boat now. It's a little weird, but not weird enough where I say this doesn't fit at all. It's catchy. It's good. I like it. This is not good, and this I don't like. Darnell, it cuts to daytime, and he got away on this boat, and there's a tooth from the lizard man, and just the delivery of this line, a tooth. That's literally how this guy gives that line delivery, and it is atrocious. Then he's floating around. We see more of now it's just getting old, the vision of the lizard man, like through his perspective. Then Darnell survives for some reason. I mean, I said, you see the lizard man creeping. You see from his perspective that he's in the water. He's right there. But yet he lets him escape, I guess, just to tell the tale of the lizard man. Some ukulele music kicks in. Yeah, we're in the South. And they end up saying in Lee County, now there's this whole legend of the lizard man, and that's a news report. They're interviewing people. All the acting is really bad. Like, that's one thing I can stick to. The acting is just not good in this movie at all. All of the delivery of almost all of the lines so far have made me cringe. But why'd the lizard man let him go? He killed both the parents, which we saw none of. And that's going to be a huge issue for me. This is called Legend of the Lizard Man. This is a horror movie. And I double-checked. When on Tubi, it says the category. Sometimes say horror comedy or something like that. Nope, there's no comedy, nothing. This is supposed to be a horror film. And if I don't see a lizard man tearing the shit out of people by the end of this hour and 52-minute movie, I'm going to be furious. The wig on the reporter on this news report looks so bad. It's such an obviously fake wig, and it doesn't suit like her face even. It looks so ridiculous. Who approved that in the costume department? And it's not just the look of it. Like, when I make these nitpicks and shit, there's reasons behind most of them. I don't want to say all of them, or anywhere near all of them, actually. Half the time, there's a reason. It's because they're trying to get you into this mindset of this legend of the lizard man. You just saw the opening scene, which sucked. But still, I want to be sucked into this story a bit. And then when I see a wig that is I can't even think of the word for it, that looks that bad, I'm instantly sucked out of this movie and realize I'm watching a badly made film. I'm not invested in the story. It sucks you right out of it and immediately makes you think, yeah, I'm watching a movie. And that's not a good sign for any movie if you can't get invested in the story where you want to pay attention and everything feels authentic. Although, let me just cover my ass a bit. Just in case that is that woman's real hair, which in that case, apologies, but that hairdo is insane. But I'm telling you, that's a wig. There's no way that's her real hair. Oh my God, the acting from all these people in the news report is so bad. It's like they said to them, we want you to deliver these lines so methed out and over the top as you could possibly do. And that's what they did. They have this guy that they probably said to him too, I want you to be the most stereotypical redneck on the planet. And he agreed, and he does good at that, but it's so overbearing. And he's talking, saying, I've been here since I was yay-high, there ain't no lizard people here. Then you got this other guy who's like a conspiracy theorist, and he's talking about how the government covers everything up, and there's tunnels, and it's like they told him, I want you to just be as insane as possible delivering these lines. This is not faring well 20 minutes into this movie. And holy shit, does this news report go on for so long. I had to look it up because I had to know what I was dealing with here. And the director, whatever the fuck her name is, but she's directed a lot of movies, like 30 titles almost, like to her name, and then producer, and actually she's in Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey too. Like, she plays one of the girls in that. So, interesting until I looked at those movies. And it's all the movies that you see on Tubi that you avoid like the plague. Like The Conjuring, like all the titles that they put in there that are popular movies, but then it's not that movie. Just to trick you into watching it or throwing it on if you're that stupid and you don't realize. And it's just called The Conjuring of the Witch or something like that. And you see The Conjuring. And even they make the posters look just like those famous, mainstream movies also. So it's one of those movies, which means I don't know if I'm going to get through all of this, but I can't leave you guys all hanging with how this ends. I just have to at this point. These are some of the titles directed by the same director. Jack and Jill 3, Return of Punch and Judy, Tooth Fairy 5, Conjuring, The Plastic Surgeon, 2. There's 2 of them. The Leprechaun's Curse, The Leprechaun's Game. Apparently there's like 11 Tooth Fairy movies that I never watched any of them, but she's responsible. The Mermaid's Curse. I can't look at any more of the titles, but this is the realm of film that we're in right now. And I never watch movies like this because of how terrible they are 99% of the time. And like I said, it sucks to have to rip this to shreds. And we're only 20 minutes in. I'm sure she puts a whole bunch of love into all of her movies. And all the cast and crew here, I'm sure they put their all in this. And I know that there's an audience for these movies. And there's people that love these low-budget, terrible, almost knockoffs of other movies. There's absolutely a big audience, just like there is for everything. But this is territory I never treaded to voluntarily, really. But after that news report finally ends, before some sharp object nearby entered my body, they end up, this is where we're at. Darnell, who survived that night, his parents' bodies are missing. So some people think that he's a killer and he killed his parents, hid the bodies. Some people are believing in his story, and he's the only one not cracked out on meth or something during that whole interview, with all the stereotypes and the overacting and all of that. Darnell's the best actor so far. He said maybe, 15 words. But he's saying, I don't know what it was. I'm not saying it was a lizard man. I don't know if it was Bigfoot, but it was something. So that's where we're at now. Is Darnell a murderer? We know he's not because we saw the lizard man. But what's going to happen to poor Darnell? If you need the answer, stay tuned on the video on the Legend of the Lizard Man from 2023. Then it's years and years and years later, and we're introduced to this group of friends, which if you just film people like at a party who didn't know each other well, you get more organic dialogue than this cast here. The acting continues to be dreadful, and they end up going to the woods to camp. And then obviously we know this lizard person is gonna come and start killing them one by one or something like that. If the director or anyone involved with this movie happens upon this video at some point, I don't like doing this. It's not good. But also, I could have been watching Lucio Fulci's A Lizard in a Woman's Skin right now instead of this. So I think even you guys would agree that I made the bad decision. So they stop at a gas station before they go camping in the woods. And I don't know if it's the same actor. I mean, they reference that his brother is the sheriff, and they say they're twins, so I'm sure it is the same dude in the opening news report who's just stereotypical hick, like to the extreme, plays this guy at this gas station, store, wherever they stop. First of all, one of the chicks is pretty hot, so there's a positive. And his face is all painted like a lizard person. That looks pretty cool. I'm reaching for any type of positives I could throw at this point. Oh, there's still an hour left in this movie. No wonder this movie's an hour and 52 minutes long. Everything goes on for so long. Like, to the point of boredom to tears. Every scene goes on for way too long. The movie should have been called Everything Goes On for Way Too Long, the movie, Legend of the Lizard Man. And I would have never clicked this song. Also, another fun disclaimer. Yeah, I am being hyperbolic, which I do in many videos when I get pissed off at movies. But it's maybe like a 10% exaggeration of what I'm actually thinking. So, it's all terrible. I mean, I was just trying to defend it in some way. I can't. If this movie had more than, I don't know, $2,000, $3,000 budget, I would like the IRS to go audit the director and the crew, because there's no way that it costs any more than that. Everything looks so cheap. Even the clothes the characters are wearing and the sets and everything looks so cheaply made that there is no way the budget for this movie was more than a few thousand. There's no way. And they're still just walking around the woods forever, and it never ends. Thank God, or who knows, maybe there'll be a 20-minute scene of they pull a map out and they start arguing over the map. It's so slow paced. There's no buildup of any type of atmosphere or feelings of dread or suspense or anything in this movie. Now, let me also just say, I'm trying here. I'm trying so fucking hard, you have no idea. It's not like this is a first-time filmmaker, or this is a first amateur film, and it came out terribly. This is someone who's directed a ton of movies that are all in this type of budget and the quality of them. Like I said earlier, there are people who like these movies, so I can't shit fully on the movie itself because it belongs in right where it is. This is the type of movie this is. But that's the whole point of this channel, is that it's my thoughts and my opinions on these movies. And this is just so bad. I would, if you came to New York personally, I would pay you to never watch this film. Alright, here's another positive. There's some cool blue lighting in the tent when one of the girls gets attacked by the lizard man, which you see his silhouette and the teeth and stuff in his head. He looks enormous, but yet when we saw his legs at the beginning, I said they're like fucking pelican legs. I don't know. We still haven't seen the full view of what this thing looks like. And then it ends up biting this girl's face off, which you see none of. You just see the silhouette, which again, they had no budget for the practical effects. I'm telling you, I want to know the goddamn budget. IRS, get on it. Even when they find her body and they're being chased through the woods, all you see is like some blood splattered onto the tent, and then a shoe on the other side with some blood there. Remember what I said early on? That if I don't start seeing the lizard man ripping people to shreds, I'm going to be insanely furious. And the script is just awful in this movie too. They meet up, like the two of them, after some have been killed by the lizard men. Man. Not men. There are one. They happen upon the shack of Darnell from the beginning. So this is decades later. He's old and shit. There's old drawings, paintings all over his shack. And of course, he's an isolated hermit. It's not good. Like, none of the direction that this script goes is engaging in any way. I'm praying for the end. And not just the movie. And also, There's still 40 minutes left in this film. And Darnell gets to give his whole speech of, you know what happened? I saw the creature grab my mom, and what did I do? Nothing. I just ran. Now, yeah, I said that mad early on. You're just a terrible son. Then they ask him, how have you been able to live out here all these years without becoming lizard food or worse, or just being decimated by this thing? I want to know how long he's been living out there and taxes haven't been paid, and that the government hasn't come by and said, yeah, you can't just be living off the grid here. We want our money. And again, all of this goes on for way too long. They are just talking for like at least 10 minutes, literally. And him giving his whole recollection of what happened, and them trying to figure out what this thing is and his theories on it and how he's come close to capturing it, and it never stops. And with how predictable this script is, you know Darnell is going to get his ass ripped apart by this thing. Yeah, see, told you, he's dead. And again, you see nothing. You just hear the sounds of him being ripped apart, and they say, let's get out of here, and they start running. Jesus, tap dancing, criminally charged ballerina, guys. Then it's daylight, and it's just Jason, got his name, and the really cute girl I said from very early on. So there's another bonus. She seems to be the final girl here. And then they find out that it can't survive in the sunlight. And that's why it only comes out at night. And that's why when it turned daylight at the beginning, it left its tooth behind for some reason. And so it could survive, and it could retreat back into darkness and not get killed or whatever happens to him in the sunlight. So then Jason goes over there with the tooth, and he says, come on. And he starts trying to get him to come out of the water. And I'm waiting for the money shot. You know, when we get to see like this whole creature big and just full frame, we get to see the whole thing. You don't see this creature throughout this whole movie. You see a leg here and there, an arm. You see the silhouette of the head. There is one scene that you see the head, which again is the whole body of him is way too big to fit on those pelican legs from early on. And when we see him here, it's clearly just a dude in a mask that goes under the water very, very fast. And that's not the head that we've been seeing this whole movie. None of this creature makes sense anatomically in any way. But Jason tries stabbing him, and he gets dragged into the water, and he's killed and eaten while she cries by the river. And then, of course, the lizard guy, the twin of the sheriff, with the cool face paint. Again, I'll throw that as another positive on top of the one identical to it from earlier on, just to bump this up a bit. He's in cahoots with the lizard man, and he captured the sexy final girl and has her tied up, and he hears the doorbell ring, and he says, ooh, fresh lizard meat, and tells her not to go anywhere. And then you would think it would finally end, and it doesn't, because, yeah, this is based off an actual legend of the lizard man. I forgot where. It's somewhere in the South. And you think it ends, but then it goes on to tell you about the real legend. And then there's another news exposition with interviews with people acting terribly. And then finally, the movie ends. So I don't even have words anymore at this point. I'm out. I'm done. I have nothing else to say. I get it. This is its own Z-grade type of terrible movie genre, and there are people who love these movies. I don't know anyone who loves this movie. This is so bad. This was so terribly acted. This was so terribly written. This had devoid of any type of atmosphere or horror in any way. The score is all right. That's one positive there. Again, I'll throw that on again as an identical secondary one. Everything about this movie was so atrocious, I wouldn't play a prank on a friend and tell them, hey, check this movie out, because it's that bad and it's torturous to sit through that it would end a friendship. But despite everything I've said in this video, I mean, again, if a director or someone involved sees this, no hard feelings or anything like that. It's just, this is just not for me in every way imaginable. and I'd rather just end it all than ever sit through this film again. But valiant effort. All right, guys, that was I'm sorry, but that was probably the biggest rant ever. And I don't go on rants on movies often. Yeah, I nitpick stupid shit within movies. A lot of those movies I really like, or they are terrible, but I have fun with them. This is just one of those movies that it's again, I don't have words. The shock and terror, Birdemic style, that I felt watching this movie from second one. I don't know what made me continue with this. An hour and 52 minutes? Are you fucking serious? You could cut this movie down into a half hour short, and it would be just as effective. Again, I want the IRS involved. I want to know the budget for this movie. But alright, guys, that's Legend of the Lizard People. Or Legend of the Lizard Man, whatever. This movie doesn't even deserve to exist. From 2023, I'll have a much better movie out later video on Lucio Fulci's Lizard in a Woman's Skin. I hope this movie doesn't taint lizards, or just the word in general for me, because we're in trouble for the Fulci film. Hope everyone's having a good morning, afternoon, or night. This was fun, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care, guys. We're at the 10-minute mark, and I had to know exactly what I'm dealing with. Conjuring the Plastic Surgeon 2! There's 2 of them! Conjuring? Oh, that's too funny. And also, I could have been watching Lucio Fulci's A Lizard in the Woman's Skin right now, so, I mean, I'm sure even you, the director, would have to agree that this was a bad decision. But this is all about my person. And again, sorry, filmmakers. It's no, I swear to you, it's for some reason I'll have a much